important to sensitize. Ours is a nation which has the freedom of expression, freedom of speech and expression as one of the fundamental rights. And freedom of speech and expression can come only with responsibility which is vested with the individual. And how does the responsibility get vested with the individual? It comes with knowledge. And knowledge, the books are window to knowledge. A library is essentially window to knowledge. As a child growing up in Kerala, one of the proverbs in Malayalam, it is called Vidya Dhanam Sarva Dhanal Pradhanam. Vidya का धन जो है, बाकी सर्व धन जितने भी है, उससे बहुत ही ऊपर है, ऊंचा है, प्रधान है. So therefore, it is important to have this window of knowledge open to us to integrate, assimilate, and also to sensitize ourselves and the world around us in respect of our conduct as a responsible citizen, a responsible individual, and a responsible society. So, time is short, as Sanjit said. So poets have a great role in preserving traditions, epics, and folk tales for posterity. The poet also has an onus to carry forward the narrations in contemporaneous context. Therefore, the power of reading and reimagination are inextricably linked in a poet's quest for truth. So, I will be reading out a few poems here from my upcoming book, How Women Become Poems in Malabar. Malabar is a region in Kerala. If those of you who have read Gabriel Garcia Marquez, you would have come across this place called Macondo. Macondo is incredibly marvelous. So Malabar as a region, it is something like Macondo. Probably in physical terms, it doesn't exist no longer. But it has that charm which is passed down the generations. So some of the poems which are featuring here, I will read out. These are essentially narrations from the books which I have read as child. I'm sure all Indian children, one of the books all Indian children would have read is Mahabharata. So one of the retellings from the Mahabharata. You would have all heard the story of Amba, Shikhandi, and Bhishma. So the first poem is to set history right. On the coffin of arrows reposes the one who abdicated the throne. Shadow nailed to earth, born to river goddess, he awaits deliverance from cursed other life. Mother drowns 7 infants in the depths of dawn, opening to moksha. And he, the 8th of Ashtavasus, must walk in penance through the snare of earth. Plunge the torment of your bleeding feet by the ghat. Peel away your skin after each murder, each arson. Pause here. Have you seen women ripple when they laugh? Their repertoire shimmering of the ocean. Turn away, you cannot bear the sight. Come, hold my hand. Let us retrace our steps to set history right. O Devabrata, do you hear anklets, the tinkle of glass bangles? Footsteps of the one you abandoned in another life. Lighting fire of sacrament, annihilating scars of your salacious verses in flames. Invoking the sun each dawn in your name, sharpening arrows with fierce love, smearing poison of moon, gathering icicles of grief. She inks your fate. Do you remember the summer you held her in your arms? Green leaf around your words. Admit it, Devabrata. Her name stinks, evoking memory of your autumnal impotence, mired in ego. Skeptical to fight a woman. Princess Amba to Shikhandi, warm of unusual journeys on her limbs. Her lips quivered though when you fell. Wounds of love, scalds, O Gangeya. See the thickening blood of night. Patriarchal progenies of the blind and the weak have capsized. Corpses rot in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, waiting for obsequies. You have abdicated the throne, stepping into unbreakable vow of celibacy. Oblivious to the sunflower daughters birthing in each verse, you exchanged with her. Come, hold my hand. Let us retrace our steps to set history right. So, who knows if Devavrata had married Amba? Who knows? The story of Mahabharata would have been different. Another poem, it's a very short poem. It's again about the myth of how Kerala came into being. Kerala came into being after the terrified ocean stepped back when Parashurama threw his axe. So the background of the poem is also to pay obeisance to Parashurama's mother Renuka. Renuka, I don't know how many of you would have heard this myth. Parashurama, in anger, he beheaded his mother, Renuka. And subsequently, as a penance, he went, he constructed 108 temples around India. Of course, I'm not talking about religion, but of course, obeisance to mother, the divinity, the power of mother. When it rained for 7 days and nights, sea came up, swallowing grey shoreline, unfurling waves of memory of beheaded mother. Beyond asphalt road, separating the ilk of sea from the ilk of land. Reclaiming those days, fish swam under guava trees in a courtyard, gossiping, pausing, tasting, fire-cooked grain. Sand washed pristine in the primal state of seabed, of corals, of clam secrets. We slept, floating on leaves, dreaming within a dream. Water flooding our lungs, limbs opening into petals growing into the night. The shadow of the fish eclipsed blood moon, carrying earth in its womb. This land, claimed from the sea by unquenched range of burning ice, axe dripping blood, feet in long strides of 21 parikramas of Vishnu Purana. Afterward, we slept floating on leaves. One very short poem, last poem. I re-emphasize on the power of reading. The power of reading gives us power of imagination and what all journeys, what all worlds we can traverse. So the title of the poem is Anna Akhmatova. You would have heard of Anna Akhmatova, the Russian poetess. The title of the poem is Anna Akhmatova's Lover. My grandfather was born in 1889, the same year as Anna. Both lived through the row of two wars, the turn of the century racing into rationed cigars and independence. Half life strung on letters, the other as a shrunken hermit crab. A large flask of black coffee stood on the desk of his anteroom. On the walls, Modigliani painted nude sunflowers. Modigliani was Anna's lover in 1911. So on the walls, Modigliani painted nude sunflowers. Yellow windows of summer seeped into carbon copies of grandfather's letters stacked beside dentures in a blue trunk, smelling of Burma and Vilayat. Sardonic humor, a compulsive reader of maps. In the year 1966, he lay dying in Anna's arms in the anteroom as the town mayor waited outside, sipping coffee between Napoleon and Bismarck in North Atlantic, trapped in frames. In their race of bitter journeys, my grandfather sea-bound and Anna in the blanket of snow. The lover my grandfather was to her, a grey rose in a winter garden. Thank you.